On this week's show, a trip to the moon,
The ultimate bar story.
and why you shouldn't skateboard in Russia.
This is the front page.
Welcome to the front page, where we bring you the most upvoted content from the social news website Reddit.com. I'm Tyler Slayton.
And I'm Neil Figuracion.
What's up?
What is Reddit? Explain it, because I don't know.
Reddit is a social news website where a community comes together and puts up stories and pictures and videos and all sorts of things, and then we come here and I bring you the most upvoted stuff from the week, the most popular stories from the week.
What does it mean, upvoted? I don't
Upvoted.
understand.
You can either upvote or downvote. You can go, oh, someone put up a recipe for lasagna, I'm going to upvote that. Or someone put up something I'm really offended by, and I'm going to downvote it. Exactly.
Okay.
Not
cool.
thumbs up. That's Facebook, though. We use arrows. We keep it simple.
Okay, cool.
Yes, no
now I
pen juice required.
understand. So I'm the guy who doesn't understand Reddit at all.
And I'm the guy who knows enough to be dangerous.
Cool.
Yep.
So you were asking me what was going on this week.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's going on this week. I don't want to be here.
What's going on?
Because this show is keeping me from playing the new Batman game. And
I haven't
I
played
love
any
doing
of,
the show, but I would much rather be doing that.
I haven't played any of those.
You never played any of the Batman?
Any of those.
You
and
owe it to
they
yourself,
are so good,
man.
apparently.
It's ridiculous. They're magical. They're so perfect. And like, the thing is, like, I'm sure you know, superhero video games suck. Like, any game based on a comic book is historically
it's going to be weaker.
not
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are absolutely amazing, and they invented like the absolutely perfect fighting system. Like, it's the thing that every other game rips off, and they absolutely should, because it is perfect. And it's this, like, it's kind of rhythmic, but not like, you're not exactly following stuff. You just kind of hit like a few buttons, but you have to perfectly be like X, 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 and Batman's just like punch, punch, punch.
Mm-hmm.
And you're fighting like 20 dudes at a time, and it's amazing. It's so good. And the story is awesome, and there's all, like, I've been playing the new one for like a few hours now, and in the first few hours, there's already been like 2 huge surprises.
So is this like the 9th game in the series?
This is the 4th-ish. Like, there was a 3rd one that was a prequel, but it was by a different studio, so still really good. But this is the finale. This is their last game.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's like a darker version of the Lego Batman game, I imagine?
it sort of follows the animated series.
Oh, that's cool.
Imagine like a Nolan version of the animated series.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's great. You
Wow.
You should pick it up. You should pick up the second one. I'm sure you can find the second one for like $20. It's on Xbox 360. All the last gen consoles. Pick it up. You want to play it.
I'll have to figure out how to play video games.
All right, but I think we should get into format.
Yes.
Talk about our first story. I'm coming out swinging with this one because this is my favorite story of the week. This is so cool. So it is a biotech startup has managed to 3D print fake rhino horns that can carry the same genetic fingerprint as the actual horn. The company plans to flood Chinese rhino horn market at 1/8 the price of the original, undercutting the price poachers get and forcing them out. So there's a company in San Francisco. They're called Pembient. And they use keratin, which is like a protein, and they mix it up with rhino DNA.
So it's like your fingernails plus rhino DNA.
Kind of, yeah. And they, like, whatever, put it in a blender, and then they run it through a 3D printer and make fake rhino horns, which are genetically and spectrographically similar to the original rhino horns.
Crazy.
And what they plan on doing is this: Matthew Marcus is the CEO, and he says they will sell the rhino horns at 1/8 the price of the original and undercut the Chinese rhino horn trade.
Well, I like anything that reduces killing of
Right.
animals.
Well, this article mentions that in 2014, 1,215 South African rhinos were killed just for their horns. They were poached for their horns, which is awful.
yeah.
It's terrible. And then this is the best part. This is where it gets like it's kind of like Breaking Bad with like evil Chinese medicine, because what they're producing is a superior product to the actual rhino horn. He's saying that like because of all the like there's things that can affect the real rhino horns. I should say affect because this medicine doesn't do anything.
I have to ask because like yeah, this is supposed to be some kind of what is that? Male stimulant.
I don't know if this is specifically for that, but yeah, it's along the lines
it's about
of that,
erectile dysfunction, right?
Probably. It's one of those that's like, oh, I eat, soup made from the blood of a tiger and it gives me power. And it's like, it's horrible,
I mean, eat a real human being and you'll have some power, but like...
Only if you kill them with your bare hands.
Right. I mean, not just someone else, free-range human being that someone else raised.
Sure, of course, yeah. But you can't poach human beings. That's extra.
Don't kill people.
But yeah, so they're making... So I guess all these things can affect like contaminants and pesticides and even like fallout from Fukushima like has caused rhino horn quality to go down. And this stuff is...
Higher quality.
Like uncut Colombian like superior product. And they're going to throw it out on the market they're just going to give it away.
Well, a question I would have is like, how do you tell is it possible to tell the difference? Are they just grinding it up and putting it in a bag and selling that? Or are they actually showing, actually printing rhino horns?
Yeah, they're 3D printing them, so they're creating actual rhino horns in the process. So I don't know what goes on after that. I don't want to know because it's probably gross. But yeah,
someone gets out a mortar and pestle and starts...
So you can't tell. Like you can't so this is like the superior product, and no animals had to suffer for it, and it's going to force these people that work with poachers out of the market, which is awesome.
Well, that would be good.
Yeah.
I have to wonder how, if it's actually possible at all to tell the difference. I mean, having never handled a rhino horn.
Spectrographically, which is it's like, I don't know, it's some crazy CSI business. You can't tell the difference. So, I don't know. And I also, now I would just want to see Breaking Bad set in China where the Chinese Walter White is making these superior rhino horns and selling them. All right, next story. What do we got? Oh, this is a quick one, but it is summertime.
Yes,
which you
officially.
Yes.
Even if it's raining, it's summertime.
Oh, for sure. But the solstice happened. It is summer. It's very warm. There's bugs everywhere. But this is simply called, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I got to go back. I did not credit that last story. That story was submitted to the subreddit World News by Kishna53.
Go Kishna.
Yes. Those 52 other Kishnas are the worst. So this one was submitted to the subreddit GIFs by Nate the Great. And it's very simply titled, Living the Dream. Come on. Living the dream indeed.
That's like that pit we were talking about underneath your house. It's like a trapdoor and a slide that lets you into... I mean, but this is just as cool. Like a homemade water slide with a
the only way this could get better is if it went from his bed out to the pool.
That'd be pretty awesome if there was a loop-de-loop.
It's like primitive George Jetson stuff going on.
Yeah.
Just straight out into the pool because it's summertime and I'm hot.
That's how all slides should work.
This is how all life should work, as far as I'm concerned. We should all be like this guy, just chilling, riding a Fisher-Price car down a slide into a pool. That's how I want to spend my retirement years. All right. Another quick one. This one's super fun. Submitted to pics by Alina Molina. It's just called Meanwhile in Japan.
Well, that rocks.
Right? You see that, you don't snap a picture, you just follow. Because some crazy cyberpunk business is going on. Yes. It's a samurai riding a motorcycle.
Is that a yoga mat?
That's what kind of kills it for me. Is the I don't know.
Or is that some kind of like reflective device to fight off lasers?
But even then, I believe it is a yoga mat. But where could this person possibly be going where they need both a samurai suit of armor, a katana, and a yoga mat?
Feudal Japan?
I mean, his yoga
he'd
classes
be way
must
ahead
be
of he'd be way ahead of the game.
in yoga class.
Yes.
As far as I know, I've never been to a yoga class, but I don't think you need a deadly weapon.
No, it's just peace of mind.
In case,
I love yoga.
In case someone's like namaste, but they don't really mean it.
Well, I mean, you never know when you're going to get invaded by a Mongol horde. Or,
No, I know when I'm not going to get invaded by a Mongol horde, and it's not at yoga class.
We go to different yoga classes.
Fair enough. Yours is a little more full contact than mine, I guess.
Battle yoga.
All right. Next one. This is a video submitted to subreddit WTF by Chewbacker.
What the fun?
Yes, we'll go with that.
All right.
We're going to keep this video as safe for work as we can, as long as we can. And it's simply titled, Well, There Goes My Board. You're going to want to watch the left side of your screen on this one. So I believe this is in Russia.
Holy mackerel.
Right? Like, it'll play again. Also, they're smiling after that, which I would not be smiling. I'd be crying and praying. But, like, that is as close as you can come to death and just being fine afterwards.
Yeah, I've been hit by a car in a crosswalk and...
Wait, you've been hit by a car?
Yeah. I was like 12.
Oh, never mind. That makes it okay.
I mean, I flipped over the car and stuff.
What?
Yeah, like...
You, rolled over the hood and, the roof?
Yeah, and then the car ran off and,
What?
Yeah.
Shut the show down. We're done.
I had a bruise.
You had a bruise?
On my hip.
What are you, the Terminator?
I'm fairly resilient.
Circumstances, go. Details.
It was like the day before my 13th birthday.
Okay.
And I'm so distracted by the video. And I was just really excited to play video games across the street. Because,
sure.
I had some quarters. So,
oh, okay.
It was run across the street. And this car, apparently, I was moving faster than
So your fault.
It's hard to say because I was in the crosswalk.
Oh, you were in a crosswalk.
And I was a kid. I mean, not that a kid is any
yeah.
more right, but, right of way is officially to the person that is walking.
Okay.
But also, I flipped over the car and then, hit the floor, and there was a crowd of people around me, and that car just raced off.
What? So there's a person right now
who hit and run a kid.
Who maybe also has another YouTube show, and they're telling the story. This one time I hit a kid. It was crazy.
Could happen.
He seemed fine. I drove off.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, I wasn't dead.
That's nuts. Dude, is it one of those things where, like you're a kid and you just know something bad has happened, and you just go, "Oh, my mom is going to be so mad at me."
I hid it. I hid it for a day and a half, and then my dad was super mad because he found out from someone else. It's like, God.
What kind of car?
I think it was a VW Bug.
Oh,
so which is why it didn't hurt that much.
I guess that's a depressing car. If you died, that'd be so sad.
I own a non-working VW Bug.
Oh,
so I mean, you don't see those in the Midwest at all. So but yeah. Anyway, these guys. I mean, all I've seen about sort of Russian
dash cam footage,
Russian car footage is crazy behavior that doesn't make sense to me.
But also, this is not a scenario where you're not rolling over the hood and then you're worried about telling your mom.
Yeah,
he's 6 inches farther, and that dude's dead.
He just lost his truck from his skateboard.
Right. And they're smiling afterwards. They're like, crazy, right? Russia. And then they high five and go get some borscht. And that was racist. I shouldn't have said that.
They might get some borscht.
They deserve it. They deserve something better than borscht. But
well, at least they got the video.
Also, what's kind of terrifying is there's a baby there's a baby in a carriage on the other side. That could have been. Ugh.
I don't understand why anyone needs to drive like that.
Yeah. Also, it's they have flashing lights. That's weird. Wow, and the crosswalk is way further from the... Whatever, we're getting into weird, Zapruder film details. But yeah, that's some crazy... Be safe if you're skateboarding.
Cross the street safely.
All right, this is kind of a crazy story, and not crazy fun. Submitted to the subreddit news by Baker at NMSU. Go Warthogs. Law enforcement seizes $11,000 from 24-year-old at airport without charging him for a crime. So,
all right, someone's gonna have to explain that.
Yeah, I'm gonna set the scene for you. This guy's name was Charles Clark. He's 24, or was 24 at the time of this story. This took place in 2014. He was flying from Cincinnati to Orlando. His mom lives in Orlando, and he was going to go to University of Central Florida. He had $11,000 on him in cash, and he saved it up over 5 years from he had different jobs and financial aid, and I guess he had benefits from his mother is a disabled veteran, so he had benefits for her. He's going to use it all to go to school, to pay for school stuff. So he goes to the airport, checks his bag, goes to his gate, sits down. Unbeknownst to him, the ticket clerk calls the Drug Enforcement Administration and the airport police and says that his bag smells like marijuana. All right, which I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know they were in charge of that. This bag smells like weed. Let's get him. So this guy's sitting at the gate, and he's approached by officers. I guess the airport has its own police, the actual police force.
It's they're people who are in charge of security, etc.
Right. But this isn't just security guards. These are actual cops. Just so it's clear in the story. Okay, so these officers approach him, and they ask him if he has any drugs or money on him. Which the first question makes sense. The other question is very strange. But it'll kind of become clear as this goes on. The guy says, no, I don't have anything on me. He does admit to having the $11,000. And they said, it's fine, you can search me, search my bag, whatever you want. The officers seized the cash, took all $11,000, took his cell phone, and took his iPad. And then I guess in the whole thing, he got kind of scared and he grabbed one of the cops' wrist. And there was a little struggle, and then they arrest him. They arrest him for, what was the charges? It was resisting arrest, assault on an officer, and there's one other charge. I can't find it here. And the other thing is he admitted the reason his bag smelled like weed is because he smoked weed before he came to the airport. Which makes me think that, okay, everything else out of this person's mouth is totally legit. Because if you're willing to, admit the small crime, you're not committing the bigger crime. Criminals don't do that. So, I guess, it says that he eventually makes it to Florida. I don't know if he flew out that day. Probably not. But he flew out without his cell phone or his iPad or his $11,000.
I have to hope he got any of it back.
He did receive back the cell phone, the iPad, and the charges were dropped, but he did not receive his $11,000.
That's ridiculous.
Well, what this falls under is it's something called civil asset forfeiture, where, and pay attention to this because this can totally happen to you, where all a cop has to do is say, he can take whatever money or property you have as long as he thinks that it is being used to commit a crime. So if you're driving around and you have a ton of cash on you, a cop can go, oh, I think you're going to buy drugs. I'm taking that money, but I'm not charging you with a crime. Bye.
That's very disconcerting.
Right. And this is a real thing that apparently happens a lot. This is not an isolated case. And weird stuff, they're offering him a deal where he's been for a year now. He's been trying to get his money back, but they're offering him a deal like they're offering him like to give him back like it doesn't he can't talk about the specifics, but in most cases they offer to give you 50% back. Just like to not have the trouble of going to because what you have to do is
get lawyers or whatever.
Well, no, it totally throws out the whole innocent until proven guilty thing because you have to prove how you got the money and what you were using it for in order to get your money back. So he's not even sure because some of these were like, some of the money was also like gifts from his, graduation presents and stuff from his family. But so he has to show like paychecks from like his job from the last like 5 years and the benefits from his mom being a veteran and all this. But yeah, that really sucks. And it is a thing that happens quite a bit.
That is just...
And, like, no one knows about this. Like, this is just a thing that cops can totally do.
So just deposit your money?
Yeah, I guess the reason he had the 11,000 was it was something where, like, somewhere in the move from Florida to Cincinnati, like, there's something like he didn't have bank branches where he was going or something, so he had to move, like... And he didn't want like the money to get lost, so he kept it on himself.
That's a mistake.
So like all that needs to happen is someone who is not a cop needs to go like, this bag smells like weed. And then someone can go, hey, oh, you have cash on you? You're probably a drug dealer. I'm going to take that from you.
What's the most money you've ever carried?
The most money I've ever carried? I mean, like $1,500 maybe? Like I never carried 11,000. I would probably be terrified to carry, not just... It's one of those weird paranoias where, like, somehow you think someone's going to, like, smell money.
I carried, like, $16,000 on me.
For what?
I won my third game show and, like...
They paid you in cash?
No, I cashed the check.
Oh.
So,
Why did you deposit it?
Because it wasn't at my bank. I cashed it at their bank. It would have been more complicated to deposit it at my bank. I wanted the money sooner. And then I deposited it right away, right after.
Were you, like...
Also, it was like I wanted to see how it felt to carry that much money on it.
I guess, but I'm sure it was the immediate rush and then the immediate like, oh, I need to
pickpocket.
I need to be somewhere safe right now with my money because this is terrifying, and the story is completely terrifying.
Yeah, please just be safe with yourself.
Right, but we'll move on to. All right, we'll move on to a fun story that also involves a real crime, but a fun crime. No one suffered at the hand of this. So this was submitted to the subreddit Today I Learned by Not Afraid of Fire. Today I learned a man once drunkenly stole a plane and landed it in the middle of Manhattan in front of the bar he had been drinking at. Wait for it. 2 years later, he did it again because someone doubted he'd done it the first time. So this is in 1956. This guy named Thomas Fitzpatrick. He was 26 at the time. He stole a single-engine plane from a New Jersey airport, and he landed it on the streets in northern Manhattan at like 3 a.m.
Well, that's the time you do it.
Right. I mean, but you got to think, it's super narrow streets, and also it is dark. Like, there's street lights, maybe, but like, there's not enough light.
I don't know what the lighting would have been like in 1956.
Right, not enough to land a plane. We'll go with that. So he does.
Apparently, there was enough to land a plane.
Well, yeah, for this guy, because he's got the New York Times. This is my favorite part of the story. The New York Times called it a fine landing and reported that it had been wildly called a feat of aeronautics. So, like, today, if this happened, like, he would have been a terrorist and he would have gone away forever. This was the New York Times, like, hey, good job.
Well, we had different concerns in 1956. We still had enemies.
All right, if you had to guess, what bad happened to him as a result of this? The first one. Just, he did this one time.
I think he probably fell out of the plane.
No. What was his... No, he landed safely. Everything was fine. What was his punishment?
A fine?
It was a fine. Guess how much?
$50.
100.
All right.
But I don't know what that converts to in...
No, $50, $100 back then was a lot.
Yeah, but I guarantee you it's a lot less than what it would currently be.
Oh, no, yeah.
If you landed a plane in Manhattan.
If you took $100 and, like, multiplied it by 10, it'd be 1,000, and that's probably not what it would be now.
Right. So he basically gets away with it. And then 2 years later, he's sitting in this bar telling his story. And someone is like, I think he said it was like a young kid, was like, whatever.
You didn't do that.
Lies. Total lies.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, well, I'll show you, Sonny. He's 28. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's 28 at this time. This is 2 years later. But he leaves, drives to New Jersey, steals a plane from the same exact airport, and then flies into Manhattan. He didn't land on the same street, but he did park it in front of the same bar.
I have to wonder if this guy is still alive now.
He is not. According to the story, he is dead. But, like, how do you...
You would want to talk to this guy.
Oh, for sure. This article interviews, like, a really interesting amount of people where it's like, I guess the guy's wife is still alive, but it also... He talked to, like, just some kid from the neighborhood and was like, it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. But yeah, like, how he's... Oh, and also I should say, the second time he went to jail for 6 months.
Okay.
So the judge was like, you got away with this once.
Before.
Yeah. Which I think is
Let's up the ante here. Yeah.
But how delicate is your ego that you can't, like, you're like, no, I did this absolutely insane thing once. And someone's like, no, you didn't. And you need to go do it again?
I mean, that seems pretty typical for, like, people in a bar.
No, that seems typical for,
I mean, sorry, not going to steal a plane.
Right.
That's not most people in a bar. But
no, if you,
ego and, like, telling stories.
Yeah, if it's a push-up contest, yeah, you can understand, like, I'm doing those push-ups. Yeah, not landing a plane in the middle of the night while you're drunk.
It's an elaborate crime.
That's the other thing. This guy was drunk both times and landed a plane. Where you're not supposed to land a plane.
More skill than I'll ever have in
True.
piloting.
Sober. That's more skill than I would ever have sober. All right.
It's not skateboarding.
What's up?
Nothing.
All right. Moving on. Do you like space?
It's a cool place.
Space is fun, though. This is super cool. This is submitted to the subreddit Space by Vasanth Oust. NASA moves ahead with mission to Europa.
Now, that's a moon of... is that a moon of Mars?
It's a moon of Jupiter.
Jupiter. That's the one with water on it.
Right. So NASA announced that it is forging ahead with plans to send a spacecraft to Europa, the icy moon of Jupiter. The spacecraft is scheduled to launch in the 2020s. Once in orbit around Jupiter, the craft will buzz Europa 45 times to snap pictures and probe the potentially habitable salt water to lurk beneath the ice.
Terraforming.
Yeah, there's no such thing. You can't terraform. If we were going to terraform something, we'd terraform Earth, because Earth is not doing so bueno right now. It's hard to breathe here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the cool thing about Europa, as I understand it, is it's got a parabolic orbit around Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't go around in an exact circle. It goes around like an off-center oval, which, like, the gravity effects of it kind of like squeezes the planet.
Oh.
And so that creates like friction inside the planet. So the outside is a whole bunch of ice, but like the interior of it, or not the whole planet, but like under that ice is a giant ocean of salt water.
Wow.
So it is argued to be the most likely place that we will find life closest to us.
How big is Europa in comparison to Earth or our moon?
That is an excellent question. That is a question for
science people.
Science. Yeah, those science people are...
Yeah.
Those advanced space peeps are the best.
Some folks at JPL, maybe.
Right, but that's crazy exciting that we just... Like, that changes a lot. Where, like, even if we find something like, oh, we found, like, a little shrimp up on there, but there's space shrimp.
That'd be cool. That's aliens.
That's aliens. Aliens are basically, like... The best alien movies are ones where they're just giant bugs. Aliens, Starship Troopers.
I mean, giant crabs.
What are giant crabs?
I mean, crabs are kind of like bugs, but just on the water.
Crabs are kind of like bugs.
Yeah.
That one Godzilla one had a giant crab.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Would you, this is a decade away maybe to like just the exploration of this place, but if there was the possibility of going to this place and it was habitable, for us.
Oh, like there's a colony there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You'd want to go?
Oh, space is the best. I mean, do I get now? Is it like the Mars thing where I don't get to come back?
Well, I mean, it seems unlikely. I don't know how long it would take to actually get there.
That's true. How's the Wi-Fi?
Probably you'd have to build it.
I don't know how to build Wi-Fi.
Can I even get Wi-Fi from this building to the sidewalk?
I mean, I don't know. If I can go there and watch Netflix, I might be cool with it.
Just have a really big like MP3 collection.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they're. I guess you'd have to do.
We live on Europa. We make our own fun.
Right. Exactly. You get your own laws. Oh, it'd be crazy. It'd be a huge party. All right. We'll go with the last story of the week. This one, it's fun. Submitted to the subreddit Pics by Censorb88. No, Censorb88. Go with that.
Censorb88.
As much as I I look at these stories and I try and like pre-read
the names.
I'm just like, it's just a shot in the dark. It's like I don't speak the language. It's simply titled, "I only wish more people were like this crow." So there's a picture of a crow in a park, finds a styrofoam plate with some rice on it, munches on it, picks the plate up, and I like how it says, like, "Wait, what is he doing?" is the caption. He goes and puts it in the garbage. That is a crazy smart crow.
Smarter than most park goers.
Right. That makes me wonder, how did he pick up this habit? Because plenty of people go to the park and just leave their crap lying around. Like,
maybe just seen enough.
But then what else does he know?
Well, I wonder if
what other human habits has he picked up?
Can he read?
I think the more important question is, can he kill?
Well, that's entirely likely. It's an animal.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Be like the crow and
clean up your mess.
Yeah, what are you doing? Be an adult. Be an adult crow. But that's it for the front page this week. I've been Tyler Slayton.
And I'm still Neil Figuracion.
We will see you next time.